Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Zero Listeners podcast. Today I am not joined by anybody. Not for a lack of having anybody interested, but I wanted to try to do a solo episode today. Um it's a little scary, it's a little weird, but I wanted to see how well we could do this. So also for those that don't know, it's allows me to give a little introduction for who I am, what we're doing here, and go from there. So I don't know why you'd be tuning into episode number 5 without the others, but I'm Zero Soul, whatever you might know me as, also known Ryan. Um, and I started this podcast project out come the turn of the new year, 2021. I've been wanting to pursue new topics and new mediums for creativity. And podcast was something that I've thrown around for a while. Just I never knew what to talk about. And it's really just become a freeform kind of thing as it is without any topic needed, and it's gone pretty well and it's been a lot of fun, so that's been cool. As you may know, we've been in the middle of a pandemic and I've been working from home since March, and it's January now of the next following year. So of a couple of the things I wanted to do come the new year, I wanted to write more because I'm writing my second novel, and I wanted to do more music stuff. I wanted to do this podcast, and I'm also working on a card game that I wanted to try to get published by the end of the year. Lofty goals, but those are the creative things. And as much as being in a pandemic kind of sucks, there's a lot of things none of us have been able to do that we wanted to do. I also feel like I didn't fully take advantage of just having almost a year to reset. And in that, it's been kind of nice that there hasn't been as much. I don't know. I was able to separate myself from, I don't know, work, I guess. Not really. I'm like working just as hard, if not harder, than before, but I don't need to travel as much. And I think just that time and just being here and sometimes just alone has been able to let me be in my own head a lot more for creative lines. So even with that, I like I said, I don't feel like I took advantage of the time that I had that I could have been writing. I mean, that's always been like the biggest thing. I always like kick myself whenever I'm just not fully taking advantage of it. And here I am really trying to push forward. So I've like written a chapter and a half since the turn of the new year, which is still not nearly as much as I wanted to, but it's progress. And yeah, so to give a recap of what we've done here on the podcast so far, I've had 4 guests on. I have a few more too that I have perspective for the next coming weeks that will also be a lot of fun too. The first 3 that I had were Nate, Billy, and Jessica, who all have their hands in different creative stuff. Nate's done a lot of music. He's currently writing a novel as well, which we didn't get to talk too much on. And I hope that we can discuss how that's going for him and his creative process and just like how he goes about writing. Because, excuse me, I know that it's very different than how I do it. I discussed on the episode with Jess that I'm very much a planner, so I always have to outline my stuff, and sometimes it changes, sometimes more things are added, or some things just don't work. But I like to know the general direction, and I feel like if I don't, I might mess up, and there's just going to be a lot more that I have to rewrite. But then other times I just have to sit down and write, or nothing gets done. So, and Billy also does music stuff, and he wants to do animation as well. So, and Jess has been drawing and doing art forever. Um, and I don't think we touched too much into it, but she is definitely a fan of dance too, for that creative outlet of expression. So it was kind of neat to have. I didn't plan it out, but it was very neat to have the first couple of guests be people that have their hands in creative fields, and it was able to kind of graft this podcast into something that kind of looked like it had a theme, even though it was very unintentional. And then I had James on yesterday, or not yesterday, but last week too, and we talked about fighting games. And I think the next two guests too that we're gonna have more video game discussions as well. Um, and then just a bunch of other ones that really whatever comes up comes up. I don't want to kind of shoehorn this into any sort of genre, but it's nice to have a couple overlapping ideas. And it's really cool just to have friends come on and just talk about whatever. I do want to have more people on that to talk about creative stuff. And it's just always cool that we could possibly have people network because and through this. So, but yeah, so I'll go through some of the things that I personally do. I know I've touched on it on a couple of the past episodes here and there. I write, I play guitar and sing, and I have the card game thing that I'm working on as well. And I used to draw a lot when I was a kid, and it just really kind of fell away from me. I think as school went on and I didn't see that I was as great as everybody else, that it's not that I was really bad or anything, but seeing other people that were better than me, I think that made me possibly retreat away from it. And still, I wrote a bunch then too. And looking back, it's garbage. It's really bad. Like, have you ever read anything that you may have written when you were a kid? It's not flattering. But I didn't know, and it wasn't really until like 6-7 years ago maybe that my writing drastically improved. So and I had the story that I'm currently working on now, which is I don't want to just take this entire episode to talk about my book or anything like that, even though I could fill up this entire hour and a half segment of just talking about it, but that's not what I'm going to do. But it is a perspective 4-book series. I have the first one done. I'm in the I'm just about finished the first quarter of the second book, and it was originally going to be a smaller project. Well, I don't know if it was supposed to be smaller, but I thought it was going to be smaller, and it was supposed to only just be this one book, and pretty much what the first book would have been the first half, and it's something like 600 paperback pages, so that's definitely more than half of a book should be. And then the last book would have been the second half, with an awkward 2-year gap. So the second book is filling in a lot of what I didn't have originally planned. But it definitely, like, what I'm writing now fills in a lot of the blanks that I would have had if I didn't include the second book. And then as I was outlining that, the third, there was just a bunch of plot lines that wouldn't finish up by the end of the second book that I will finish in a third book, which will be another outline that I haven't had planned entirely for years. Like, I know exactly how the fourth book is going to be, like almost to the chapter, but it's a process. It's a lot of fun. It's just a lot of work. It takes a long time to write. And yeah, having a lot of frustrations trying to find the right agent. So that's kind of where I'm at with the first one, but I have the idea to eventually self-publish if I can't find an agent by the time I'm done the second book. So, and a lot of people ask me about whenever I bring up publishing, is people ask if I'd ever just decide to self-publish versus what I'm going for, which is the traditional route. I don't think a lot of people know what's entails, so I get asked that a lot. And really it comes down to, so you can traditionally publish or self-publish. I could self-publish my book tomorrow on Kindle and have it up there, and everybody could be able to buy it. And traditional takes a lot longer. And with self-publishing, I think you get something like 70% of the royalties, and you start accumulating them like immediately. Whereas traditional, you would get a sign-on bonus and a royalties or something around like 10%, anywhere between 5 to 15. Most of the time, it's around 10. With like a 10 to 15,000 sign-on bonus, and then you don't get royalties until your royalty limit would exceed what your sign-on bonus was. And so it sounds like self-publishing, you would get more money and everything like that, but there's also no marketing for you if you self-publish. Your book goes right in the middle of the sea of anything, everything that everybody has out there. Whereas if you get a publisher to pick up your book, they will do all the marketing for you. They do all the publishing for you. It's really just, you get it out, like you get it to them, and they do the rest of the work for you. I'm not a promoter. I have no idea how to market anything, and that's kind of really where I wanted to try my hand with self or traditional publishing. That and editing is expensive. It's like, for my word count, it's like $9,000 to $10,000 if I wanted to go with a professional editor. And if a publisher were to actually pick me up, they might take that on to go through it. Even though I've scoured it like a half a dozen times, gone through and done full edits of the book, it's still a lot cheaper to have somebody else, or it would be a lot better to have a professional do it at the publisher's dime. So if it comes down to it, I will self-publish the book, but I want to exhaust this option first. They also say that traditional publishers will rarely pick up somebody that was unable to succeed through self-publishing. Like, they have the mentality of like, well, if you couldn't do it, why should we do it? Which is completely fair. And that's just how business works. So we'll see. By the time I finish my second book, it'll be out there one way or the other. So it's also a lot harder coming in with a series in mind. For a first-time author, they don't know if you're going to succeed, and I'm like, yeah, I got a 4-book idea, and they just don't know if you're going to finish the stuff. And rightfully so. Like, 3 of my favorite series, I'm waiting on the next books for fucking ever. Like, I'm unconvinced that the Winds of Winter, I think the Winds of Winter will come out eventually. I don't think the last book will ever come out for the Song of Ice and Fire. And who knows when Doors of Stone's going to come out for the Kingkiller Chronicles. And my favorite series, I'm still waiting on the Thorns of Emberlane for the Gentleman Bastards. So, and that's like book 4 out of 7, I think. So it's understandable why they wouldn't want new people without knowing if they're going to succeed or not. So I get it. And maybe if I go to them and have 2 books already done, it shows possibly more promise. So we'll see. As for other stuff, yeah, I'm working on a card game. I'm probably going to stream it on here sometime with some more testing. It's a co-op dungeon builder or dungeon crawler deck builder, which is a mouthful, and I have no prospective names for it yet. The biggest thing is I need a lot of artwork done, and I'm kind of picking at it myself right now. I might get some friends to help me out with it, but there's just a lot of artwork because there's like 200 unique cards or something like that. But people have tried it already. It seems that it's people have enjoyed what it is. It's kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, MMO Dungeons, like how you have that teamwork for that mixed with Slay the Spire almost, or any other traditional deck builder that you might have where you fight monsters and it gets more difficult as you progress, and everybody else like gets a better deck as you fight monsters. But there's a lot of teamwork involved of who's going to take and block hits and who can heal, and if you guys can do synergies within the group. So it just takes a lot longer than I thought it was going to. So the games take like around an hour or so, if not more, for first timers. And then there's just the balancing of the number game that comes with it. So I probably will end up streaming. I don't know if I'll have a dedicated day to it, of testing and streaming it. And I think once I have artwork, it'll be a lot interesting, because right now it's just cards with text on it, which you see a card that says wolf or whatever on it. It's not as engaging as if you have like a picture of a wolf, or even just the cards that you have. If you have Ice Blast and it just says Ice Blast, or you can have like a cool imagery on it, I think would help people be engaged and want to play it more, and be excited about the cards that they drew or could potentially add to their deck. But that also will be alleviated at the end. Right now it's just a testing thing, which I would do on Tabletop Simulator with anybody that would really be interested to do that. And once I get that balanced and the artwork done for that, that's when you can go through trying to get that marketed and everything. I know there's a lot more to that than I'm fully aware of. Nate did a card game the other summer, and it's hard to get it out there. There's same with like the book and pretty much everything else that you do whenever you try to put your stuff out there. There's just, you're throwing a pebble into a sea of just so much other content, and how do you make your stuff rise above? And sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does, and it's tough. But here I am doing this. Hopefully people listen. People might not, and we'll go from there. See if we can build up a fan base, or like I said, networking is something that I think would benefit from or come from this podcast and all the people that we have on here. So build up a network, build up word of mouth, and not even just for my projects, but I hope I'd be able to help give that to everybody else that ends up doing stuff. Like I said, I know Nate's writing, Billy wants to be making some music tracks, and Jess has been doing artwork, and anybody else that is doing anything, even if it's just another streamer, just again putting the word of mouth out there and just spreading the attention to where we think it should go. and like I said, producing more music. I've been playing guitar for a long time, probably more than I have not. I'm not insanely great. It's just something that's always been pretty much behind me. Like it's right behind me right now. But I've just always dabbled here and there. I was in a few bands when I was younger, but since I moved out, I've really just kind of tried to be considerate to the people that live around me, and I stopped playing my electric and really focus more on playing acoustically. So I don't really have a set genre, but I guess it's more just like an acoustic indie kind of sound that I go with whatever from song to song. So been posting clips here and there on my Instagram for things, and I have a small uh, demo that I have online on Bandcamp. But I will, by the end of the year, another thing, like I said, I wanted to actually do better recorded stuff and better produced stuff and put it out there and see how that goes. I also potentially might do a stream where I just do I say live concert, but it's not a concert. It'll just be like a showing of some of my material, some covers or whatever like that. Just do like a hour or two or something like that, and just play. If I could get the sound to come through where either my voice or the guitar aren't drowning each other out, I think that might be neat. I might do like a poll on this on the Twitch channel just to see what people might want to see for potential future projects. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, I wanted to do the podcast. Those are the 4 points. One of the things that's just come out of it is I've streamed a lot more than because I'm doing this every week. We've been doing the WoW raids, and it's kind of fit me into this schedule, which is nice in a way. Sometimes I just feel like I don't have any free time to do anything, but it's really been pretty good. There's just a lot of other games too I want to just throw up on the stream every now and then while I've been doing this and potentially having the growth in the stream. So because what was it, the holiday season just passed with everything being on sale, so I have like, I don't know, 7 or 8 games that I would like to go through. And again, I probably put like a poll out or something like that to see what people may or may not want to see. We have Vigil, The Longest Night. We have a couple Metroidvanias because I fucking love them. But Star Wars, Jedi Fallen Order, Panzer Paladin, Amori, Disjunction, stuff like that. So we'll see how that goes from there. So I wanted to do a solo episode. Like I said, I had people lined up, and it wasn't for lack of having somebody lined up. And the idea was honestly fucking scary to just sit here and talk. And even still, like even now, I'm like not 100% sure what I was gonna say, or I didn't have anything planned for this. And I was not even sure, not even now, if I had enough stuff that I could just ramble and just talk to fill up any amount of time. And I'm not going to press myself on time. If I feel like it's over, it's going to be over. So that's fine. But I also know that I'm not always going to have somebody to come up on the episode. It'll allow me to talk about whatever, even if I don't have anybody to bounce off to. And even if I did this one day or once a week, it's 52 unique people. And it's not like I'm not going to have people come on, but I don't know. Just wanted to try it and see how it went. Yeah. So one of the craziest things that's been going on, this is more of a if you're listening to this from the past kind of thing, is the whole, I'm not going to talk about it. I was going to bring up the GameStop shit, uh, and how my take on it is pretty much the same. It's not a unique take of how I think that the Wall Street is kind of getting what they deserve. But it's really not a hot take for anything. I think everybody's kind of in the same boat of how this is exactly what happened years ago, and they were bailed out, and pretty much the general public suffered for it, and they got bailed out, and we didn't. If you look at the percentages of people that are still recovering from like the 2008 financial collapse, it's staggering. And we're at a different precipice. And yeah, I mean, I'm always going to be, I'm not going to say it like unashamed or anything like that. I'm always kind of a fuck the man kind of mentality of you don't owe your job, you don't owe the government, you don't really owe anything that's not going to have your back as it is. I mean, we really didn't get shit for aid during this pandemic. I've been lucky enough that I've been working at full capacity from home since this all started, but not everybody's been in the same boat. And as frustrating as it was to see people get additional unemployed money and help, like some people were making more money than I was making when they were unemployed, and I didn't get anything extra. And as frustrating as it is, like it was good for them, and it's run out now, and that kind of sucks. But the entire time, it's hard to look at it objectively when I haven't gotten anything, and I've just had to work harder. So I don't know. Yeah, I kind of went off of where I was going, but just because I read just okay, Jared. Yeah, because I saw Jared post. He said, "Fuck him." So yeah, you took a pay cut just to go back to work from the unemployment. Yeah, no, they asked me. They asked our company around May who might be willing to go on voluntary furlough, and man, I was like, "Fuck, I would." I didn't say anything, but I'm just like, yeah, I'll fucking sit around and do nothing and get paid for it. But I also just took my job integrity into consideration, and I was just like, all of my stability would kind of be thrown into question just because the client that I manage, I pretty much managed, and that I would be maybe coming back. They didn't know if everybody would be coming back, and not everybody did. But I didn't want to be in that position of then coming back and then being told or feeling like, yeah, we don't really need you anymore. Like what you did, or they throw me somewhere else that I'm completely unsure or unfamiliar with. So I didn't do it, and I kind of just worked through it. So, and I think a lot of people took pay cuts just to go back to work, and it's hard to motivate people to find work when they're making more money not working. So yeah, you were worried about that at the entire time you were laid off. Yeah, I don't blame you. It was difficult. It was definitely different for everybody and anybody. I actually just had the conversation the other day of how I don't think anybody knew it was going to get so bad. It started with we were having a conversation about people that thought they had it before COVID. I'm talking about before this all really hit, and my dad like had the flu like real bad last February, and maybe it wasn't it. And Shane got super sick right before PAX, and PAX last year was like the end of February into March. And I remember like it was right before we went to try to find masks. It was like February 28th or some shit. We went to try to find masks before we went to PAX, and we couldn't find masks anywhere. And we're going to Boston, where it wasn't. I don't know. I don't remember if it was a hotspot or like one of the hotspots, but it's a city. It's a big city, and it was definitely rampant there. So we couldn't find masks anywhere, and he was just, again, it could have been COVID. I doubt it was, because nobody else that went with us really got it. Everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people will get like what they call the PAX plague or con crud every time we go to one of those locations, just because there's so many people from so many different places. And let me tell you, PAX this last year, PAX 2020 was bizarre. There was a lot of people that pulled out, and a lot of companies weren't there, and their showcase, like the floor space that they had, didn't really get moved. So there's just like an empty Square Enix layout and a couple different booths that just weren't there. And they had a lot of people in masks, hand sanitizer fucking everywhere. They had janitors standing on the bottom of the escalator with Clorox wipes just on like the handrail that just kept on going through the conveyor belt. I mean, that they could have had a machine for that or something. They just had this old man just standing with a Clorox wipe on the handrail as it just went around. But it was bizarre. It was definitely different, and that was the last thing that I was able to attend before any of this happened. But like I said, the conversation I had the other day, where it started with a bunch of people just think they might have had it around the time frame between January and February. They've just had a really bad cold or bad flu or something. And it's entirely possible that that they did. And I remember my mom thought it wasn't even going to be that bad when all of this stuff was coming up, and I was like, we're gonna get shut down. This shit's gonna be so much worse than you think. And like the next week, everybody was like, no, we're locking down. It's like, oh, I didn't think it was gonna be that bad. I'm like, this shit's gonna get crazy. And here we are, still locked indoors for the most part, just minimal anything. It's different. Yeah, I really wanted to do concerts, amusement parks, just being out, and didn't get to do any of that. I've wanted to snowboard this season. It's just hasn't been good. I was gonna go this past weekend, but it was negative 20 degrees with the wind chill, so that's not really the best time to go snowboarding. But we'll see. Like I said, guest Billy said November 16th, and he's a doctor, so he's not a doctor at all. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I don't really care to get political in here, but hopefully with new direction that maybe we can get shit under control. Maybe a little bit better. I don't know. We've seen a lot of different sides of America this past year, so who's to say if leadership has anything to do with it, or people just going to do what they want to do regardless. So I don't even know how we got onto this this tangent right here, but it's all right. Oh, that's how we got we were talking about fuck the government or fuck the man and the companies, but yeah, I don't know. I haven't followed too much on the GME stuff, but it'll be nice to see. I don't know. Some people just get what they deserve. I'm not saying that they're evil or, I don't know, deserving of being destitute, but you play with fire and you play with other people's lives, and hey, sometimes you get what's coming for you. So I will say it has made some grade A memes for sure. So, but memes come and go. Hopefully it does have some stopping power to make a difference. So let's get into this. This is something actually which might be interesting. What are some of the top games? We're gonna go back. We're gonna pivot this shit into video game talk here. Besides WoW, I've been playing a lot of League of Legends again. It's like the resurgence of the most toxic games you could play. And let's see, 2020 in video games, just to see what, or 2021, let's see anything that's coming out that might be interesting. But besides that, a lot of Teamfight Tactics. I wanted to stream it a bunch more. I'm just not feeling the set that they have going on with it right now. They do have some oncoming nerfs. They actually might have done it just the other day. That might make it a little bit more enjoyable. It's just really focused on like 3 different things. If you don't hit those 3 things, you're not going to have a good time. So that's been great. Not really. And I really don't want to stream normal League. I might. I don't know. I'm fucking garbage. So we'll see. I don't like having my awfulness on display, but you know what? Fuck it. I don't know. Might not care at all. So, but what was coming out this year that people are excited for? The 3D Mario World plus Bowser's Fury looks interesting for the Switch. Even though I have the other one, the original with the Wii U, I'm really trying not to buy games that I already own on a different console. But the Wii U I'm never gonna fucking use. It's in the closet. The only reason to play that is that or Xenoblade Chronicles. No, not Xenoblade Chronicles. Whatever the Xenoblade Chronicles X, whatever that one was. Or Smash Bros on there, but why would you play that Smash Bros and not just Ultimate if you're gonna go that route? So I don't know why I'd ever take the Wii U out. I might mod it and see if you can just get like pretty much the entire virtual library. Definitely legal for that. But what else? Yeah, what else is coming out? Oh, that's actually all right. March 18th, Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake. I had no idea that was actually in the works. I loved the Prince of Persia stuff, and I think the only reason that you don't see the Prince of Persia series anymore is that I think Assassin's Creed is just what it turned into. Because after this Prince of Persia trilogy, the first Assassin's Creed came out somewhere in there, and they just started doing those instead. They're like, fuck time, back and forth time. We're just gonna go all the way back in time. And if anybody's in the chat, yeah, let me know if you guys have anything interesting that's coming out this year that you guys are definitely looking forward to. I know it's so weird though with everything. All the developers working from home, it's really put some stuff out in the past, and like Cyberpunk and all the hate and weirdness that's come to that has made people question the integrity of working from home. But there's companies that pretty much have done that exclusively. Hades was made a shit ton from working from home, and that shit's game of the year. No surprise, Guilty Gear Strive comes out in April. Super pumped for that. They're also doing a new R-Type final, which is crazy. A remake of the first Nier and a new Pokemon Snap, which I watched the trailer. I like, as much as the nostalgia gets me. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna get the new Pokemon Snap. It was cool back in the day because it was like, hey, the Pokemon are in 3D and you get to see them and everything. But now they're always in 3D now. Like, you can just play any of the Pokemon games and you kind of get that as it is. And fuck, there's a screenshot button on the Switch. You don't need a camera. to go around and take pictures. You can just press it and take pictures of them. Resident Evil 8 comes out in early May. That is something I am looking forward to. Resident Evil 7 was great. I'm a huge fan of Resident Evil 2, but Resident Evil 7 is really up there. It is one of the best Resident Evils that they've made. I was not expecting too much from it, and it kind of blew me away. It was really good. And I played the graphical demo for 8, and while it wasn't scary, it looked fantastic. But it wasn't that scary, and there was no combat. I guess they're making another demo at some point that's going to have combat for shooting zombies and everything that you want to do. But I am very much looking forward to Resident Evil 8. And besides that, there's Back 4 Blood. If anybody hasn't heard of that, I would say check that out. That says June 22nd release. That is a third-party studio that is pretty much doing what you want from for Left 4 Dead, pretty much. It's called Back 4 Blood. It looks really good. Pretty much everything that you would want from a Left 4 Dead 3. That's what they're doing for that. So that's it. Wow, there's really not a lot that they have coming out. 30XX is supposed to be coming out in, I don't know, a week or two. I think that's going to be a lot of fun, but it's still going to be early access. I think that's a lot of what we're going to see, especially in the environment that we're at now. It's just a lot of early access stuff. And I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing that more from from more AAA titles, that we'll see early access becoming a norm, unfortunately. But they'll probably pin it off as something like, it's just the environment of how development is. Help us not be Cyberpunk. Which, I don't know, it's hard. Because I know my group of friends has gone through it from the beginning of fucking H1. There's a charm to some early access, especially if it reinvents something or makes a new genre. Like I said, with not even just H1, just DayZ, let's say that. We'll go to that. And it was a lot of fun when we first started. And that was really one of the first big survival open world survival games, and now it's completely oversaturated. And then it started with H1Z1, where you started seeing the battle royales come out a lot more, and look at how that's blown up. That's fucking everywhere now. And again, it's not like they're not fun or anything, but DayZ, for example, of just the early access thing, is that shit was in early access for years. I think it just came out like 2 years ago as a full release, and I played it in full release, and it was not good. It was worse. I feel like maybe it's nostalgia talking, but I feel like it was worse than when we first played it. But then again, I don't know. We just have the nostalgia and the stories of when we first played that, where you didn't have a map, you would spawn and you had no idea where the hell you were. You were on some beach, and eventually you find out it was too far away from your friends, so you would climb a lighthouse and try to kill yourself and break your legs instead and just be stranded on this beach with broken legs. No way to respawn. And I guess, yeah, there's a little bit of a charm to that. So, I don't know. Stupid broken games like that. And now we have Jared and his friends have been playing a lot of 7 Days to Die, and it's much more refined from where you came from DayZ, that's for sure. So, but I don't know, the early access model definitely has its advantages and not. So if the game's going to sit there forever and be abandoned, it sucks, especially when you have to pay for it. So I don't know, hopefully we'll see a resurgence of decent. Fuck it, we're not going to see any of that. Here's my I don't know, nihilistic approach of that. It's not. It's just gonna be worse. More microtransactions, more DLC, and more early access that never comes to fruition. That's what's on the horizon for us playing any sort of games. But so I don't want to make this a current events thing. So otherwise, I just was about to just scroll through Reddit for something, and I'm not going to do that. What I am going to do is it's still alpha. There's 7 days to die. Yeah, but I don't know. Do you think it's going to release? I guess is a question. Um, does anybody in chat want to ask any questions while I'm not distracted? Sometimes when I have a guest on, I see like the chat go through, and I'm just not able to ask or involve it. But I want to ask if anybody in chat has any questions or anything before I wrap this up. I know it's a smaller episode, but again, that's completely fine by me. It's also, I'm like realizing every time I take a sip, like, oh shit, this is just like 5 seconds of dead air, nothing being said or anything. All right. Well, that's fine. So what I am going to say, still going to be doing these episodes every Monday as much as I can. And for right now, the only scheduling I have is whenever we are doing the raid in WoW, which is going to be 7:30, that 7:30 to 8ish as a start time on Tuesdays and Sundays. Come and see us lose our minds. And we had a frustrating night last night, but I actually think I have a couple of ideas that might work. It's just hard when you don't always see progress, which is fine. Looking at it like as perspectives as higher end raids, like this raid took 200 attempts to down this mythic boss, and I know we're not there, but it's a lot less than 20 attempts. So will we ever kill Hungering Devour is your question. Yes. Just yesterday the answer was no. As a quick insight, I think for the strategy next time we go to it, I'm gonna mark beam locations for people to stand in. So maybe people can call out what location that they that they want to go to for their beams, and maybe there won't be as many overlappings, because I don't think we had a single attempt that at least one or two people didn't die to beams. So yeah, it's worth a try. It's just a lot of personal responsibility, and I think that's what makes the raid great, as well as what makes it really hard, is that almost every fight has some sort of personal responsibility to it, and if somebody fucks it up, it can cause the entire raid to wipe. And I think it does make it really like give you that sense of accomplishment that yeah, you guys as a team like did it, but it also gives it like one person fucks up and then everybody has to start over. So I don't know. I like that aspect. I just feel like maybe for the next raid that I hope they don't do it for every single fight. Feels like to have it feel that way. And maybe it's, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I do like Denathrius, I think, is a really fun fight, which is great. And we had like this our best, smoothest Denathrius kill yesterday, and then we went into a little bit of a fail fest right after, which soured that a little bit. And yeah, we have full cleared normal, so we technically have beat the game. So, and we could full clear it. I feel like at any given moment we can do normal in just one shot, and that's good. We're really just pushing ourselves. I think we can. That's one of the reasons why I want to do it, is I think that we can. I think we can get pretty far. We just need to have a bigger group. I think that would really help, because we couldn't even do Mythic if we got that far. So we'll see. So like I said, if you want to see that fail fest or frustration, definitely tune in to the Tuesday and Sunday raid nights. As for the other things that I said I might be doing, like I said, I'll put a poll in the Twitch channel at twitch.tv/zerosoul for if you would ever like to see a music stream or testing the upcoming card game streams. And I'll put that there to see if anybody's interested. And also, if it is, I will put it on the stream schedule. So that's going to do it for me here. I appreciate everybody that did tune in. Thank you for tuning in. And again, we will see you guys next week. Thanks. Have a good one.